iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Hope you all had a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And a lot of friends, family, football. So let's take a look at some of those games. And then, of course, we'll do the hot takes for Week 12. And just saying, my hot take for the Chargers-Cowboy game was spot on. Spot on. Phillip Rivers, 434 yards, 3 touchdowns. I said he'd be throwing to Keenan Allen, Roto, and Hunter Henry as they like to put the ball in the middle of the field. The Cowboys forced you to do that, and the Chargers did that exactly. Keenan Allen, 11 receptions, 172 yards and a touchdown. Hunter Henry, 5 for 76 and a touchdown. Even Tyrell Williams caught up 2 passes for 58 yards and a touchdown. Melvin Gordon, a good, not great game. 65 yards rushing, 23 yards receiving. Not special. I thought it would be a lot better than that. For Dallas, it's just a mess. No Ezekiel Elliott shows you the problems here. Here are the problems. I told you the Chargers are very good against a tight end. Witten only had 44 yards. Dez Bryant is not 100%. Cole Beasley is not doing his job. Terrence Williams, they're just short playmakers. You have Rod Smith, who played okay, scored a touchdown. Alfred Morris did nothing. The Cowboys are not a good team. I don't care what anybody tells you. The Cowboys without Ezekiel Elliott are not a good team. With Ezekiel Elliott, they're terrific. Without them, they're bad. And the defense is bad. There's no Sean Lee. What are they winning? They're not winning a game here. They're not going to beat anybody. It's a big problem. So, Cowboy fans, you have to wait for Zeke to come back, and you better hope he stays on the right road, because without him, you are in big, big trouble. All right, Minnesota Vikings. Can you believe that Case Keenum might be leading the Vikings deep into the playoffs? Outside of the Eagles, the Vikings are the second best team in the NFC right now. Case Keenum, 21 for 30, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns. The interesting thing about Case Keenum was that he was such a good quarterback in college, and then he came to the pros, and he's just been very, below average. But give him the right players: Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon. And this team looks pretty darn good. This team looks pretty good. What did I say was going to happen? I also said was going to happen was that the Minnesota Vikings don't give up catches to the running backs. Abdullah was 3 for 29. Riddick was 1 for 10. So immediately, the Lions don't like playing about that. Next, Marvin Jones was spectacular, but they shut down Golden Tate. So what happened here was that Minnesota played a perfect game against Detroit. Detroit couldn't get anything going on offense except for Marvin Jones, and Minnesota is working all over the place on offense. And what did I tell you? The running game. Latavius Murray, 20 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. McKinnon, 13 for 23. I said they were going to get over 100 yards. They did. Case Keenum had another 20 yards himself. 41 carries, 136 yards. You put that up on offense, you're going to win. That's how it works. Okay, so, really, very good game by the Vikings here. Then finally, in what was possibly, if you ate a late turkey dinner, you might have gotten nauseous last night watching the Giants play the Redskins. This was just not a great game. But Samaje Perine finally showed you what he could do. 100 yards rushing, 3 receptions, 30 yards. I thought he looked very good out there. Jamison Crowder looks like he's on another planet than everybody. Where were you earlier this season? I've been calling for this all season. Finally, we're getting it now. 7 for 141 and a touchdown. Josh Doxson with a very nice touchdown catch. 2 for 28 and a touchdown. But of course, there was no Vernon Davis. I think that shocked a lot of people, myself included. For the Giants, I knew the Giants would do nothing this game, but Evan Engram, 7 targets, 3 catches, 18 yards. You got to come home, do better than that. Fantasy owners are counting on Evan Engram, and the Giants have just been disappearing. Eli Manning, a train wreck, 113 yards. The Giants couldn't run the football. They couldn't catch the football. I'm hoping, I am praying this Giant team will be better when Sterling Shepard returns, because let me just share this with you. They couldn't be any worse. Seriously, they couldn't be any worse. Okay, let's take a look at the hot takes for Week 12. We'll dissect the games. We'll hopefully make sure that you have some great plays in here. So let's get it going on. Firstly, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'm telling you how this game lines up for me. This is Matt Ryan to Julio Jones over and over and over and over again. There's nobody on Tampa Bay that has Jones's size, speed, strength. They just don't match up well with him. Now, here's what Julio Jones needs to do. Catch the football. If he can catch the football, he could have a 180-yard game. I mean, he really could. But he hasn't been great this year, so I'm asking you to make a leap of faith with him. But I do think that if he can catch the football, he could do some serious damage this week. I like Tevin Coleman a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. You know, the Buccaneers have been a little bit better against the run than you think they have. I'm trying to get you some numbers here. I always love when we can go right to the numbers because the numbers tell me everything. So against running backs, the Buccaneers have been bad, but the last 2 weeks, 52 yards and 82 yards, not so bad. So I don't love Tevin Coleman this week. I like him a little bit. I still think Devonta Freeman is going to be out. I think the way that Atlanta wins this game, and I want to check one more thing. I want to check the tight end. The Buccaneers against the tight end have been very stingy. So yeah, I don't see this as an Austin Hooper week. I see this as a Jones and Sanu week, and maybe even a Taylor Gabriel week. So I'm trying to find you another. One moment, please. Please hold. Thank you for holding. The Buccaneers against third receivers, very bad. Very bad. 30th. So this could be a Taylor Gabriel week, by the way. I could see this, there you go, being a Taylor Gabriel week. I'm just throwing it out there. It wouldn't shock me if he did something interesting. So I think I like Gabriel along with Julio Jones Roto. Cleveland at Cincinnati. So here's what you have to know about Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cincinnati lets up a lot of catches to the running backs. So I think this is a Duke Johnson week. I do. I think this is a Duke Johnson week. This could be a Crowell week as well. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. By the way, I want to go back to Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I know I spoke a lot about Julio Jones and Taylor Gabriel. I don't like Doug Martin in this game. I don't really like Fitzpatrick in this game. Maybe Mike Evans, but I really am not feeling anybody. If you want to go on a complete wing and a prayer, take a look at O.J. Howard. Just take a look at O.J. Howard. I think he might be the one guy that I might show some minor interest with. The Falcons versus the tight end, they've let up 3 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. So maybe O.J. Howard could be a guy that does some damage there. I'm just throwing that one out there. Okay, sorry, I digress. Cleveland against Cincinnati. So how does this game stack up? I told you I like Duke Johnson. I don't love Corey Coleman this week. I think Cincinnati's very aggressive against wide receivers. I think this could be a week where Coleman gets like what he did last week, 6 for 70, but not a big week. Maybe a lot of catches, and which equals some decent yardage, but nothing special. I don't see a big, long play here. So I can't really endorse anybody on Cleveland outside of Duke Johnson. For Cincinnati, I like Joe Mixon a little bit, but we know that Cleveland's very good against the run. I don't like A.J. Green. I really don't like A.J. Green this week. McCourty has been very good against wide receivers. So I'm just throwing it out there that I think that McCourty is pretty tough. I might be looking at Tyler Kroft. I think this is a Tyler Kroft week. The Browns have let up touchdowns in the last 3 weeks to tight ends. This could be, if they get to the red zone, I could absolutely see Tyler Kroft catching a touchdown. The problem with Tyler Kroft is he goes 3 for 23 and a touchdown. So he gives you 11 points, but is that really sexy? It really isn't when I'm trying to win a lot of money. I don't know whether Kroft can win me a lot of money, but he doesn't kill me. His floor doesn't kill me. Tennessee at Indianapolis. So let's start out with this. I think people are going to look at the Colts' run defense and say it sucks. But giving you the last 3 weeks, Cincinnati 34 yards, Houston 94 yards, Pittsburgh 92 yards. They haven't gone off there. So the way to beat the Colts is through the air. And the Colts have been very disgusting against receivers, letting up a lot of touchdowns recently. But the Colts defense has played better than you think. I do like Tennessee this week. I do. I like Mariota. I think that DeMarco Murray plays well. I love me some Corey Davis. I like maybe Delaney Walker this week. But the matchup that I'm really looking forward to this week is T.Y. Hilton against Tennessee. This just lines up perfectly for him. Logan Ryan can't cover him. I don't think Adoree Jackson can cover him. Indianapolis, T.Y. Hilton does well against bad teams. And I don't think Tennessee's a bad team, but I think it's a bad secondary. So I do think T.Y. Hilton could have a good week. So he's somebody I've got my eye on. Buffalo and Kansas City. What can I say about Kansas City except what a monumental disappointment they've been? Now, if I read you these numbers for Buffalo against the running back, I need you to sit down before I read them, okay? The last 3 weeks, 181 yards and 2 touchdowns, 294 yards and 5 touchdowns, 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Only Andy Reid could screw this up. Only Andy Reid could screw this up. What does he need to do? Hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt over and 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 over. Boom. Game over. End of story. Seriously. I mean, that's all you have to do. It's just not hard. Let's see if he can do it. If he can, I love Kareem Hunt this week. For Buffalo, man, Kelvin Benjamin not going to be in. Zay Jones is a rookie. I know Kansas City has been terrible defensively, but the Chiefs always play better at home. And let's take a look at something here. The Chiefs' last couple of games where they've been disgusting, at the Cowboys, at the Giants. They lost at the Raiders. Remember, they're better at home. I think I always like playing the Chiefs at home. Watch them as a sneaky, sneaky defense this week. I think that they do something there because we know Tyrod Taylor stinks of epic proportions. Okay, Miami at New England. Giddy up. Giddy up. I mean, Miami on the road, I don't like it there. I don't even know who's going to be the starting quarterback, and that's something that worries me. Is it going to be Jay Cutler? I mean, personally, I'd like to see it to be Matt Moore, but I don't know if that's been determined yet. Right now, Jay Cutler, they're hoping that he's going to start, but he's still in concussion protocol, so I don't know if we can or not. Look, I want them to have Matt Moore out there. If they have Matt Moore out there, I like Drake, I like Williams, I like Landry, I like Parker, I like Stills. I like their options. Now, I know Matt Moore doesn't do well when he starts. I get that. But, look, they'll be playing from behind, and Matt Moore will chuck. So Matt Moore becomes an interesting play. And if I'm going to look at if Matt Moore starts, I will do a reverse stack with Miami against New England and go with a Matt Moore and Drake and see how that ends up. I'm waiting to see what happens there. For New England, just load up Dion Lewis right now. Every week he does something. I think this is a Gronk week. But the problem is this. It's not a Cooks and Gronk week at the same time. So if it's a Gronk week, I don't think it's a Cooks week. If it's a Cooks week, it's not a Gronk week. Pick your poison. I think this week it's more of a Gronk week than a Cooks week. So that's the route that I'm going to go. Carolina at the Jets, Jets. Cam Newton coming to New Jersey, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing Christian McCaffrey. I think he's a very good player. The Jets against running backs have been stingy this year. They have. But I think Cam Newton's playing very well. It's an interesting game to me. I don't think this could be a really bad game. I think this has the potential of being a really bad game. I don't think this is a game that Bilal Powell goes off. Maybe Robbie Anderson or Jermaine Kearse makes a play. I'm not sure about that. Greg Olsen is due back. So, Carolina's got very good linebackers. So usually running backs out of the backfield don't do well against them, and tight ends don't do well. So it's going to have to be Robbie Anderson or Jermaine Kearse, but I don't feel really confident in either of those guys. For Carolina, I never feel confident in Cam Newton because he sucks. And in the wind, in New Jersey, I don't know. I'm not loving this. I think I'm going to stay away from this game entirely. But if I had him in seasonal, I'm going to play McCaffrey, I'm going to play Funchess, I'm going to play Olsen, but I don't feel great about it. Chicago at Philadelphia. Philadelphia has just been terrific, but the Eagles have been very good against running backs, really good against running backs. So this is not a Jordan Howard week. Could this be a Tariq Cohen week? Maybe if they're behind and they need somebody with some juice. I don't think this is a Jordan Howard week. I don't. I think this is an Alshon Jeffrey week. Revenge against Chicago. Jeffrey wants to get in the end zone once, twice, 3 times, however many times he can. I like Alshon Jeffrey a lot this week. Carson Palmer, I think this is an okay week. Nothing special. 250 and 2 touchdowns. I'm not loving it for him. The Bears, decent against the run. Have been generous. Some games are very generous. Some games are not. They were very bad the last 2 weeks, but against Detroit they were good. But remember, Detroit's not a very good running game. So I think that the law firm of Ajayi, Blunt, and Clement could have a very good game here too. So I don't love Wentz this week. I like him. Seattle against San Francisco. What's not to like? I mean, 2 teams who are struggling on defense. I like Russell Wilson this week. I like Doug Baldwin this week. I love Jimmy Graham this week. So I want to read you some stats here, okay? The 49ers against the tight end look like they've been very good. But listen to this. First few weeks, 18 yards, 26 yards, 21 yards, 12 yards, 30 yards. They were outstanding. Outstanding. The last few weeks, 102 yards, 61 and a touchdown, 69 and a touchdown, 39 and a touchdown, 31 and a touchdown. You think Jimmy Graham scores this week? I do. I think Jimmy Graham finds the end zone. For the 49ers. 2 guys for you. Carlos Hyde, Marquise Goodwin. Those are the only guys that you can play, and you can play them liberally in your lineups. I do like them. I like them more than most people do. I think that they're a very, very sneaky team, and I think that offensively they can show more than you think they will. So let's keep our eyeballs peeled on them. Denver at Oakland. Welcome to the back to the NFL, Paxton Lynch. He's going to get the start. He can't be any worse than Simeon. He can't be any worse than Brock Osweiler. I like Paxton Lynch throwing to 3 people. Devontae Booker, Emmanuel Sanders, and Demaryius Thomas. The Raiders can stop nobody. Nobody. Those 3 guys will have good fantasy weeks. I have no problem starting them. I know the Raiders can't stop them. Now, the Raiders. I don't like any of the wide receivers this week, and I don't like Marshawn Lynch this week. I think if Oakland's going to win this game, they've got to go to their tight end. They've got to use Jared Cook. When Cook plays well, the Raiders seem to play well. When Cook doesn't play well, they have no chance. So I don't know who wins this week. I think Denver's the better team, but I like Oakland at home. But I don't like Carr matching up against Denver. So a lot of things going on here. But I will start those 3 guys on Denver I mentioned, and I will start Jared Cook. New Orleans at the Rams. I need you guys to understand something. The best defensive lineman for the Saints is out for the year. Alex Okafor was sensational. He was absolutely sensational. I think people don't realize how good he was. So let me show you the numbers here. Alex Okafor, this year, 1 moment please, right? He had 4.5 sacks, and he had 43 tackles, and he had forced fumbles. He was aggressive. He was aggressive. He was really good on that defensive line. Now, I know 4.5 sacks doesn't seem like a lot to you and me, but it does to the Saints. That's a lot. They've never had a guy who put pressure on the quarterback. If the Saints can't pressure the quarterback, and now their backup guy is Trey Hendrickson, a 3rd-round pick out of FAU, I believe, right? You don't pressure Jared Goff, he's going to pick you apart. If you let Jared Goff pick you apart, then all of a sudden the defense is not holding, and now we need more offense. So now all of a sudden Breeze becomes even better because it's going to be a high-scoring game because the defense isn't as good. Marshawn Lattimore also not 100%. So let me take a look here. Marshawn Lattimore, very questionable with an ankle injury. I mean, if he doesn't play, good luck, right? Ken Crawley, I mean, he's questionable too, but I don't know, man. I think that Kenny Vaccaro is questionable. I would think that this bodes well for the Rams. I think the Rams could be very sneaky this week. Who do I like on the Rams? I like Gurley, I like Cooper Kupp, and I like Cooper Kupp. And by the way, I like Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is out. Sammy Watkins has not developed a rapport with Jared Goff. I think this is a Cooper Kupp week for New Orleans. Kamara is my favorite guy. I know Mark Ingram has been very good, but just throwing this out here. Mark Ingram, when they're winning, is sensational, but when they're behind, Kamara's on the field. So Kamara gets as the 3rd down running back, and when they're losing, he's out there. So Kamara is my favorite guy of the 2, but I do like Drew Brees as well. Jacksonville at Arizona. This game could be a mess. Blaine Gabbert starting in a revenge game. Good luck with that. It won't matter. The defense is going to rip your head off, Blaine Gabbert. I wish I liked Larry Fitzgerald more. I don't. I think he gets bulk, but it's going to be a rough day for him. I mean, he could be 4 for 41, and I have him in a league where I really need him, and I'm worried. I am absolutely worried. I think it's going to be a bit of a mess. So begrudgingly, I may have to start him because I have Will Fuller out and I have Sterling Shepard out. So, I may have to be starting Larry Fitzgerald against Jacksonville. I don't like it. I like Adrian Peterson this week. I think he should come back, and maybe Ricky Seals-Jones. Is he real deal? Let's find out. We'll have to watch in this game. For Jacksonville against Arizona, this is my bold prediction of the week. Keelan Cole is going to make a big grab. Okay, so Marquise Lee is going to see Patrick Peterson, and I think Keelan Cole is going to take this team deep. If they're willing to make a risk, I like Cole. I might throw him in on a flyer team, let's see what happens there. But, like a Bortles, Cole type of thing, maybe they make a big connection. Who knows? Green Bay at Pittsburgh. I really, really like Pittsburgh in this game. Green Bay was decimated. Losing Rodgers has been a disaster. The only guy who's played well thus far has been Devontae Adams. But if you want to be a little contrarian daily, I could see you playing Jordy Nelson. But in seasonal, I don't like Jordy Nelson at all. I like it more as a contrarian play. Devontae Adams has been sensational. For Pittsburgh, we love Bell, of course. We love Brown, of course. Smith-Schuster, we may not need him in this game because he's a little injured with a hamstring. Plus the fact that they already have Brown and Bell should be enough to win this game. So I'm not all in on the Juju this week. I like the Juju, but I don't love Juju. And then finally, Houston at Baltimore. I'm going to talk way more about this game on Monday. But for right now, just preface it with this. I love the Ravens. I do, and I'll talk more about that on Monday. But a couple of things you need to know. First of all, go to scoutdfs.com. Enter the promo code Maui. Get two entries into Maui Madness. Be hanging out in Maui on a beach. How about, you don't want that? Your wife, if you don't want it, trust me, your wife wants it. Why don't you be doing that right now? Maui Madness, sign up now, scoutdfs.com. Okay? 2 entries into Maui Madness. So, next for you. I'm going to be on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio tomorrow from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, and then on Sunday from 10 to 11 with my man Adam Ronis. So please take a listen. Critical weeks. We need to get you to victory lane. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I wish you a great weekend and much success. Have a great one. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!